Hey there, Nomads of Lore. I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Shawn.
And together we are Mead and Mischief, your home away from no home. So before we get started with this elaborate video of us not knowing what we're doing, I wanted to talk briefly about I wanted to talk briefly about the thing that's coming next. So after this, we're going to be devoting about half of the channel, about half the channel's time to doing a reread of the Stormlight Archive series.
Yay!
Brandon Sanderson. Yay. So excited. Stormlight 5 is coming out next November. Correct? November?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Why
And so
is it
we're
so
trying
long?
to get 1 through 4 read before then, and we're going to try to take you guys along with us. A big push of this is for those of you that have friends and family that you've been trying for ages to get them to read it. I have some myself, and we're going to try to have a video. We're going to have several videos every 2 weeks talking about, the chapters we're currently going through or whatever, but one of those videos is going to be devoted to first-time readers and answering questions if they have any. So big need for you guys and your friends and family to participate. We've got a Discord channel already set up. Everything's going with that. We've also got a Patreon that we're working hard on trying to get it ready. Hopefully the Patreon will be linked in the description below. Discord is definitely linked in the description below. And of course the Patreon is just to help us guys just have more time to be able to devote to you and to doing the things that we all love to do.
Be able to provide some unique content too.
Yeah,
I think.
exactly. So, what else are we doing?
So speaking of, I've been going back and looking at some of our old videos, thinking about Wheel of Time or our old thoughts. And that was a bit of a blast from the past. Jonathan beating the table. He used to do that in every video repeatedly.
It's true.
So blast from the past, you guys. And so we're not done talking about Wheel of Time. Jonathan said we're going to spend about half the time talking about this. We're going to, when New Nudes comes out, I'm sure we'll get back to looking at previews and things for Wheel of Time when season 3 stuff comes out. That's a preview for this video that we're not done with this show at this point. But we would love to spend some time talking with you guys about season 2 of the Wheel of Time. We are planning to do a live video this Friday at approximately 10 p.m.
Central Time.
Yes, Central Time. 10 p.m. Central. And we are planning on it. That is absolutely the plan. There's a lot going on in our lives, some changes and some different things that are going on. And so it is fractionally possible that it doesn't happen, but we're going to make every possible effort to do that because we love doing those, and we hope that you guys enjoy discussing season 2 with us. So that is the plan. So hope to see you guys there. So we're going to spend some time talking about episode 8 of season 2 of the Wheel of Time. We're going to try to for the most part, we won't be able to help ourselves on some bits, but for the most part, talk about just episode 8 and not all of season 2. That's what the live is for. And so we're going to start with a probably very brief show spoiler only section at the beginning, kind of giving our general overall thoughts and rating the thing. And then we'll jump quickly into some other stuff. So Jonathan, what are your episode 8 generic thoughts? Well, yeah. That are thoughts that don't include book spoilers. Okay. What are your thoughts about the show? Or the episode? I'm gonna get it.
So my thoughts about this episode started off. I would say, there's so many things. This episode was pretty good. If I completely separate the side of my mind that ever loved the books,
ever read the books,
sure, then this is a better show. It's definitely a better show. Like all the way through, I still hold this. This is definitely better than Rings of Power. And anybody who says anything different, come fight me, because no. But
I still want to make that video.
Okay, let's do it. Are we? Wait,
not the come fight me video.
The fighting video. I'll fight you. Wait, are you saying Rings of Power is better?
No,
okay,
no.
Right, I'm just making sure.
Of why the Wheel of Time show is better than the Rings of Power show.
Yeah, and so the episode was good. There was a lot of parts to it that I very much disliked and have grown to dislike even more over time. I went back and watched it again. So I have not watched and am interested to hear how other people think, because you've watched a lot of videos of other people's thoughts on it. And so I'm interested to hear about that. But there are several things that I did enjoy, and especially like some of the changes actually I liked from a standpoint of like, oh, this shortens up a lot of time that we don't have to spend doing X, Y, and Z, because it cuts out all of that. Some of them are problems though, and I felt like the biggest thing that I've had a problem with, or not the biggest thing, one of the biggest things I had a problem with this episode was like, I felt like we are killing people off that we have no connection to. Yes.
You're talking about like Ingtar?
Yes.
We'll get more detailed in the book spoiler
just is
part
like,
two.
Okay,
sure.
why are we even like, why do you even like linger on him? Nobody cares about him at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, us book readers did, but
yeah.
No, the show people are like, yeah, we saw that guy a couple episodes, about 3 seconds each episode, and okay, he's important. I'm so sad he's dead. That's about it.
Well, to back that up, I have watched. So I watched some non-book reader videos. Too. I watched Everyday Negroes, and I watched Tori Talks TV. Those are kind of the two non-book readers. In fact, I will put a link to both of their channels in the Discord. If I have not, and you see that, put a comment on there, because I would love for you to go check out those channels. Both of them have more subs than us now, Tier. But well, one of them was obviously going to, or already had, but they're both great non-book reader channels to check out. And that scene, the loud question was why are you doing that? And we'll say more about it later. Is why are you? And there was no setup for why is he? Yeah. So I think that scene didn't play for non-book readers, and for book readers is for other reasons, but which we'll get into in a minute. In addition to that, but it didn't play.
What about your overall thoughts?
So so the biggest thing that is worth saying for that I think is worth, and there's even more to be said in the book reader section, but in the is Rand, everything with Rand was anticlimactic. Everything with Rand was anticlimactic, and it was very anticlimactic, and that's true. I feel like that's true for book readers and non-book readers too. I think just in the show, and I've got a lot more to say about Rand when we get into the book reader spoiler section, and whatever else. I've got a lot more to say about that. But even just without that, it was very anticlimactic. There was some stuff that I really liked, some stuff, and we'll continue to get more specifics. We were talking freely. I loved some of the scenes with Lan and Moraine. That was just chef's kiss. Great. I loved we'll definitely talk more about this in the book reader section, but I every time I think about it, this face, this grin, I loved the Moghedien scene at the end. Yes. That was some of the people that were excited about the Shawn Chan's and tag at the end of season 1. I was kind of like, whatever, this is fine. But this one I liked a lot, like a lot. There's so many things that was great.
What was really good about that was that we built up Lanfear a lot in this season. And so it's like Lanfear's just killing people left and right, boom, 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 even more so than Ishamael.
Right.
And so to see her basically quaking in front of Moghedien was just like...
Well, it was interesting, too, because she got, and I'll have more to say about on that, too, because I think there was one or two things that they kind of did a little bit weird, but I think they did it for the exact reason that you're talking about, where they wanted this person to be scary. But, Lanfear, this is kind of book spoiler. I mean, Lanfear is objectively stronger than Moghedien in the One Power, not in other places. I will keep extra words for spoiler section, but she essentially traps her with trickery, which is perfect, and whatever else. And then, Lanfear is freaking out, and she's freaking out because all these other people are out too, and whatever else.
Yeah, she has no clue. She walks in expecting, and I kind of liked the way that got set up as well. But we can talk about more. Yeah. Do you have anything else for non-spoilers? I feel like we're about to head
I don't, you know, and I questioned this when we kind of talked about the episode preview a little bit. I don't love, I mean, even though I guess it's different in a way than other shows, so, you know, different for different. I don't love that the scene was shot in the daytime. Like, I don't like, I thought that was janky.
That was,
like,
hello. Yeah, we got volume going on here.
Copyright.
No, I agree completely. I thought, like, how hard would this have been to have shot it at night or at dusk?
It would have been much more interesting, like dynamic.
All the fire and all the things that were going on. Like, this was a very, like, something that Game of Thrones did very well to instill fire, because to instill fear because of the fire raining down in different shots. There's a ton of like night shots that they did with the dragons and stuff, and it was really cool. And they've done some really cool, not cool, but they've done some good stuff shot at nighttime in this show. But why did they not choose to do that for this? Like, and how much more impactful would it have been?
Yeah, I didn't love that. There's some stuff that I do, and this is still true. I think there's a lot of stuff in this episode that's really weak, which we'll get more details in later. I think there's two or three things that I really, really like, which are tipping the scales. And I will say this much, and I'll have more to say in a minute once we switch over to book spoilers. If they don't get their rear in gear concerning Rand, and I will explain what I mean in a minute. Like, it's in season 3, then I'm gonna be done with this show at that point. Like, that's, I mean, their Rand, I think, is being mishandled. I think some of it I feel like I can understand, and if they do a good job in season 3 of fixing it is the wrong word, I feel like. If they do a good job of getting their rear in gear, and I'll give more details in a minute, then I feel like the changes they made, while I still am probably never going to like them, they will work. I will be okay and will be all right with it and whatever else. I don't think I'm ever going to like some of the changes that they're making with Rand. I don't think probably, but they could go in a direction in season 3 to where I would be fine with changes and stuff. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I have spoiler free.
Well, then let's go into the spoiler section.
Yeah.
And let's do that. We talked about a little bit beforehand. Let's start with the negatives, and we'll go I'll go kind of scene by scene. We'll just start with the very first the opening scene.
I will say that spoilers for at least some of this will go all the way through A Memory of Light, like through the end.
Okay.
Not most of it.
We'll give you a little warning before we say stuff for sure that you can jump out and
deep
come
spoilers.
Back.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
and that may start now. I don't know. The intro. The
No, that's not the Memory of Light. But yeah, go ahead.
How did you feel about
the cold open?
The cold open that was like almost geared to make you feel like Luz was bad. I felt like there was a big
on the
push.
Same team, maybe, or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird
or something.
how I felt. Anyway, go ahead.
Well,
I think you felt more strongly about this than I did. I was
I don't know that I felt. This is what didn't go into any details when Jonathan and I have talked about this. We're in getting some stuff ready. We're shooting this later day than we
wanted to
originally were thinking, but
yeah,
it didn't make any difference with views on the last one, so we figured let's stay the course.
That's right.
Basically, we're trying to do good by you and do good by us all at the same time. So the cold open is one of the things in this episode that I don't really like, but that it's kind of like it's fine. Like it's a change, like, and what I don't like specifically in the cold open, like I like the scene, like the scene was cool, like it looked like it was probably the eye of the world maybe, and whatever else. So the scene was interesting, and it looked like, let's see, were there was it male channelers around him, or was it all female? I don't remember. Let's see.
No, it's all. I think it's men.
Yeah, it's all men.
Yeah.
That it was the thing that I don't like about it is it shifts Lews Theron's motivations at the time, because the whole idea in the books is him and the men are trying to seal the bore, whereas what's her face and the women are like, our plan is to use the Chodon call and blow it up, and just and whatever else. And the idea was to seal the bore and buy them some more time and whatever, and get this happening. Whatever, he didn't have we're in book spoilers. He didn't have the I want to die motivation until he was in Rand's head that I'm aware of. Yeah. I mean, that was not his motivation. It was his, and so I don't love the motivation shift, and this, part of me is like, I don't mind them being friends thing, and part of me is like, what are we doing here? Like, is this a way, Rafe did some things like making Matt's parents buttholes and having Perrin kill his wife. And, he's done some things that try to set up motivation. So is this kind of a early kind of push? Like, is the point of this to basically be like, okay, Rand could go to the dark side, so to speak. And maybe it is. And so, and maybe that's what's going on. So I don't love the motivation shift, but it's fine. Like this is not one that I do not like. There's some things in this episode that I really don't. Well, there's really one thing that I really do not like in this episode, at all. And then there's some other stuff that I don't like, but is fine. There's one that I thought, like when we were heading there in the episode, I thought I was about to not like it, but I actually really did like where they went with the part, which we'll talk about in a minute. So yeah, as far as that, what did you think about is that something you didn't like?
So
or is that...
it was okay. What it reminded me of is a very big negative is how many times has Rand heard lose in his head in the show?
Well, and that's going to come into some points in a minute too.
And so that's what it reminded me of is I saw lose and I was like, wait, that's a big key part of book 1, book 2, for a long time is all these random little splices of lose coming into his head.
Well, he doesn't actually hear lose, at least not in book 2. I don't, and I doubt it's in book 3 because he's basically absent. So it's not until at least book 4 or 5.
You didn't hear him at all in the first books? Oh. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not a thing that I need to be worried about, though. But
it may be actually because of
it just felt like they almost I don't know. There's such a disconnect between Lews Therin and him, and I guess that's where I have the problem. But I don't know. The cold open was fine. It was one of those that I was like, "Ooh, this is cool. It's a Shawn, so I'm gonna get to see something cool because he's one of my favorite characters." And nothing. I mean, it was cool watching him get put into the seal, and I think that was about it. So what was the next scene after it's when we see the white cloaks.
I don't know. Are we going to do all the negatives first, or are we going to walk through our scenes here?
Well, I was walking through the scenes doing the negatives of those scenes.
Oh, I see. Well,
we kind of keep it.
Actually, all the white cloak stuff is not negative for me. Was there anything negative with white cloak? I love the white cloak stuff in this episode, actually.
Yeah. I don't think there was anything really negative other than when oh my gosh, what's his name? When
Dane Jeffram
is fighting
father son
what's the
Valda,
and when Valda's on top of him fighting and about to kill him, and then little Hopper comes and rescues him. I thought it was so strange. First of all, when did Hopper die?
I think earlier than that. I think it's.
Is it really early?
Yeah, it's pretty early in the books. That's what I thought. Yeah, I mean, so this is fine time-wise.
Yeah, this timeline was good. But then the problem that I had was like we kill Hopper and then Valda just runs off. And it's like this weird. They did a couple of different scenes like this where it was like there's a problem and we just didn't address it. We just let it.
Well, I think the play for that. I think the explanation for that would be. I mean, he clearly. I mean, they've shown that at least once, and I think 2 or 3 times they've shown that he at this in the show has like deep terror PTSD with wolves right now. And so I think that was probably a more like he's running. I mean, that would be my guess there as to, and I'd have to go back and rewatch the scene, whether he runs off before or after Hopper dies. But
it's after. Well,
it's, I mean, I know
Hopper's on his back. The guy hits him and chops him in two, and then he runs off.
Well, and I think that's as likely to be just the classic Hollywood. He leaves because they needed him to leave and not fight Perrin right then.
Well, and then there was the other thing that was like a weird bug to me that I won't stay on very long, but was Lan was getting shot, grabbed an arrow out of the air, and then he fights all these guys, and then he's done fighting the guys. And he never went up onto the ridge to kill this guy or pulled out anything, and he
quit shooting the arrows.
All of a sudden, the arrow guy's gone.
Right.
And I was like, there's just a lot of random holes that I was just like, okay, that's
funny.
Just for, let's have him catch an arrow. That's so cool.
It's very, very Pete Jackson Legolas sort of a thing. That's funny. I didn't even think about the missing archer. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So then the next scene after the White Cloaks is
Matt.
No, it's Moiraine and Rand and all of them going through the ways, right?
That happens like real early, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's right after the White Cloak stuff.
Sure. Oh yeah.
So
that happened like many of y'all and other YouTubers.
Something I really loved about I loved this scene because it was just like the play back and forth between Lanfear and Moiraine is just beautiful.
Yeah,
and it's
fun.
Like hopefully leading up to the thing that happens later. That I don't know if we want to spoil that, but the thing that happens later with Lanfear and Moiraine, that we all thought was maybe happening earlier. Anyway, all that stuff. I love the play back and forth. The part of her just basically being like, hey, you open it. And she's like, no, you should open it. And she's like, well, just wait here. Let me talk for a second. And then I'll open it and shove you through it. Yeah. And it was great. And how did you feel about I thought the Rand quote with her was so cheesy. I feel like every scene is cheesy with him. He's standing there and he's like, what does he say? How can I ever trust you? Or I don't know, something. It was just like, why are we putting this in here at all? Like their relationship is just such an interesting thing, and they don't build on it. They don't do anything with it.
So the weird thing right now for me, I think, with some of that, like, is ever since Lanfear became Lanfear and not Selene anymore, his acting is falling apart.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it's his fault. It's probably not, actually. It's probably writing and direction, but like he's very, and it's partially, and I think there's a lot of stuff right now with Rand that half of me is wondering, is he hearing Luce there? Or is Luce like this is later, if we're going kind of by parts or whatever, negatives by parts, but this is jumping ahead. But the whole scene with him and Turok was stupid, exceptionally stupid. And as another YouTuber pointed out, it's like, okay, I can forgive this because we don't have time for 2 sword fights in the episode, and because it would have been Turok sword fight, whatever. So
sword fight
exactly? But they were like, I guess we can forgive it because they don't have 2 sword. They don't have time for 2 swords, and then we get to the end and. And that's the sword fight, but the part with Turok was stupid. Like the whole Rand's channeling in this season is stupid. Yeah. Like Rand's channeling is dumb. No. His
lack of channeling would be fine, but the being conveniently cut off from the power for whatever time, and him being on his knees in submission and terribly acting. Like the problem is the acting. It's like I'm not saying his acting is terrible.
Him being shielded acting is fine. I don't think that acting is bad. I mean, whatever else.
It's like I would rather see him struggle trying to do something against Shawn than I want to see him be shielded. Like let him struggle like Nynaeve.
Right.
Like why are we having? I mean, he could have the same kind of block or something that Nynaeve has.
Hey. Another
I
thing
know,
that isn't played right,
let's
but
not
at
go
this
into
point,
that. But yes, but I just feel like yes, you're right. The channeling and the not channeling.
Well,
and all
so
the
my
things
problem has
about-
nothing to do with the shield. Like that's fine. Like even him getting shielded twice, and that undercuts that. I mean, it's the same thing we said about Mando revealing his face too early. It's like you screwed the pooch, going whatever else. But my problem is with his channeling. Like he doesn't at this point in the story. He really shouldn't. I'm like from a show perspective and the book perspective and a whatever perspective, he shouldn't be able to really channel much at all. And not really have any control over it, and definitely not have any power unless Lews Therin is taking over, and that's going on.
Yeah, but what are we? We're not showing.
But there's no evidence for that for either book readers or non-book readers. No. So I mean, his explosion of power with Turok is like what that. I mean, it was just like so. It's anticlimactic. So it's bad TV. Plus it's like. Why can he do that? And I know, part of the problem with that sword fight is why can he do that? Well, it's because he's got a tiny bit of training and Taviran, right? We talked about that last time. That's the sword fight we're talking about. But this I feel like is that to the like this is like that extra. And I'm a huge issue with this entire season is the same issue as the first season, and as they don't have enough time, which is why on some of this, like, okay, I can be okay with it. Now they made a big mistake with it later, which I'm sure I'm 110% sure we'll get to, but it's.
I would have much rather seen a sword fight between the two of them that ended in an accidental death on Turok's part, an accidental stupidity. Or the wheel turning and something happening with some character around them. Maybe one of the fireballs coming from the tower hits like the group and like knocks somebody into Turok, which then knocks him into the night. I don't know. Something would have been a whole lot better than.
Well, I think that was
extreme control that was displayed. That was like, okay, where did that come from?
Well, there's less control than like power, but.
An explosion of power, like let me do one fireball and take out everybody, right? Would have been more believable. Than a bunch of little
tiny dagger things
missiles that hit every single person that are standing between,
right?
Except for the one person that
was behind everybody. And
no, I thought he was standing to the right side of the guy. I don't know. He may not have been. I figured he just didn't have a sword, so he didn't kill him, and then we wanted to show the extreme dedication of him stabbing himself, which was
right.
I think that was fine.
I think ultimately, even though they didn't take as good advantage of it as I wish they would have, I think ultimately that was all about time. Like they didn't have time to have this extra sword fight in this episode, no, I think that's But cut
the stuff from something else.
Well, yeah, no, right. They should have. I mean, to get there, they shouldn't have had the nonsense with Egwene with Egwene shield stuff. They should have had sword fight there, and then it'd be okay. I get that. We don't have time for two swords fight. Let's have a sword fight.
Yep.
Let's have a thing. Yep. The Egwene stuff. As we're continuing, we do have some really. I've got not just Moghedien. There's some others and. There's some stuff that I did like in this episode, so stick with us. It's not all negative. We're putting the negative first so we can rant, and then
these things you liked. Please explain why.
Sure.
If you find
y'all are usually great about.
Yeah,
doing
you are for sure. I definitely like to be told I'm wrong. I'm totally fine with that. I don't.
And I like to tell him he's wrong. So
well. Yeah, I like to hear the reasons why I'm wrong, I guess, for sure. Like if somebody's like, oh, don't you remember this? And I'm like, oh, totally. Like that's happened several times this season. Did you forget that so-and-so happened and that's why this happened? Oh, yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. I mean, even just saying that Lews Therin doesn't show up until book 3 or 4 or whatever happens. Right. That's true. I didn't remember that. I just remember how intense that was and how much it would help currently with some of the things that have been happening. But so we had several. I mean, is there some?
Well, right near there, as far as the thing is we get to the Ingtar part, right? So right after the Turok part is the Ingtar. So I think most of us had figured out just because of time that they're not going to have Ingtar's whole bit, right? Ingtar is a dark friend, his redemption, whatever else. That's they didn't have time to add like this whole long thing, right?
That's an even worse point. But anyway, go ahead.
But like the way they did that scene, I got this. The way they did it was just dumb. And the one thing they could have done to fix it, but like they didn't have time for the whole redemption. That's fine. Sure, get it. They needed more time. I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm sad. That's one of the most impactful things in that book. So I would have liked to have seen it, but. It's okay that that's not there. But the problem is that was the way they shot it. And the way they shot it was he randomly, out of the blue, for the light in Shanoa, jumps off the thing, and everybody else is just standing there staring at him. Mm-hmm. It's like, and there's no explanation. They're just standing there watching him die, sacrifice himself for nothing. They didn't gain any time. They didn't do anything. No. If he would have been like, all right, you've got to get the horn to Rand, and I'll hold them off. And then they left. Yeah. And then he did the thing. I mean, they could have done that and still gave this. I mean, and part of me, I don't know if you noticed this, is, whatever else. There was part of me that thought that briefly that they might be going to bring back have some semblance of this, because when Loyal's given his big speech of, we're the heroes of today, whatever else is, his being awesome, Loyal, and whatever, Ingtar, they have him make a face like, oh, no, dang it, kind of face. And so I think that's supposed to be the wink and the nod to the book readers that he felt guilty, which is what happens ultimately, and decides to sacrifice himself. Yeah. But again, the way it was shot was like he sacrificed himself for nothing, for no reason.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this? This is stupid. Yeah. And we've talked about this with other mistakes in the show before, is it would have taken such a tiny fix.
Yeah.
Like all he had to, because that was the whole thing. Like Matt Rat was trying to get the horn to Rand. That was the big thing. He could have said that. Then he could have said his line, for the light and whatever else. That's, people were excited about. Oh yeah, he says his line. Like big whoop. That's like the Avatar: The Last Airbender or adaptation, where they have some shot for shot scenes that mean nothing. And that was that to me. And that was like, this is stupid. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think that's all. I mean, that's exactly how I felt about it. It was like, it was cheesy. It felt extremely cheesy, but by the way it was done, because exactly like you said, they stood around. They kind of fought for a second and then stood around, and then all after he died, turn around and start running. And it's like, and they even like looked at him for a while.
Massima's standing there staring at him like,
I've lost my friend. Like, oh, dude, he's sacrificing himself. Get your butt in gear and go. Like, what are you doing? I don't know. I felt like, and you brought up a really good point at the beginning of it that I'm just remembering is we weren't going to have the redemption arc for him. Okay, great.
Or even the Dark Friend arc.
Or the Dark Friend arc.
Yeah.
Are we going to have a redemption arc for anyone? Because then we had this thing with Matt that I thought, okay, we might go somewhere really cool with Matt with this dagger. We might have him do something really stupid, or run off and do something stupid, or whatever, and then have a redemption arc for him. Because
we had a redemption moment for him, but
that's my point. It's like we're like all these long payoffs that you get from the book, and I know it's harder to do it in this format,
especially with 8 episodes in a season.
Exactly, but like, can we not just splice some of this in here, just like little spriggets of, oh, this guy is going, this way, and then, oh, look, he's coming back, or something, because that's something that is so key in this series. There's so many redemptive arcs for people. There's so many of the opposite side of that going bad. And we haven't, I feel like we have none of it. We have people like kind of, thinking for a second, maybe I'll do, oh no, I'm still good.
Right.
And, oh, maybe I'll be better. Oh no, I'm still bad. Or whatever. I don't know. I feel so like all the character, we talked about on episode 4 something this season. We talked about how great character development was, that there was lots of stuff that just happened for people and we moved forward and it was good. And for all that, I feel like we have none in the side characters. None. We just have them sporadically.
Except the Forsaken.
Yeah, but they're not side characters. They're the main bad guy.
Well, okay.
Because we have no Dark One at this point.
Well, the Dark, yeah. Well,
I mean, and is Shamael dead a second time? But
well, that's yeah. I actually had that question. Are we going to get Moradin? Is that gonna happen? And I think that's gonna, and that's who knows. I mean, that's straight. I mean, because he dies and he gets brought back.
I know.
I mean, that's pointless to even speculate about.
Well, but I would hope that he does get brought back because I think that would be.
Well, it's pivotal to the end of the series for sure. Yeah,
I'm just worried about the way that he died. I don't know if
I mean, because he dies in the great. I mean, because he dies in the Eye of the World, and then he dies.
We have shown that we're not scared to bring people back as far as like what's his name as a hero.
Uno.
Of the Horn. Uno. Yeah.
How
do you feel about that?
I thought it was funny and stupid at first, but the more I sat with it, watched it, I loved it. It was great. I thought it was a brilliant idea. As far as if we're gonna kill him stupidly, I thought that was great.
Are we doing away with what's her face because of that?
She's in there.
I worried about.
She was there. She was standing there.
I saw her.
She doesn't look anything like what I pictured, but she was standing there.
I agree. I just wondered if because of him we were going to do anyway.
I doubt that.
We'll see.
I doubt that heavily. They're not going to have. I mean, assuming they do, they're not going to throw out the kick butt woman warder with whatever. I mean,
that's probably
my concern is with the. I hope that they don't try to make her lesbian for some reason. That's what I would see as far as a weird change that's for no reason and have a and actually I don't even care if she's lesbian. I just I don't want her having some like her and Guidel. Is that his name? Yeah. I mean that's such a key part to her character. So I hope they don't mess with that and that with I could see them changing that. But yeah, no, I didn't mind Uno being. So as far as the Matt stuff, I actually really liked the Matt stuff in this episode. Finally, I haven't liked the Matt stuff at all this season. Pretty much, I haven't liked how dark he's gotten. The only real negative. Well, the only thing I didn't like was I didn't like the dagger becoming a lightsaber. I thought that was dumb, and I wish that because as the scene when he has to blow the horn, I wish that would have been more desperate. Like I wish they would have played in the books. He's trapped between Shawn and White Cloaks, and he's trying to get the thing to run, and he's trying to do the right thing, and he's stuck and whatever else, and he absolutely cannot get out of this. And this, he's he kind of stands there for a minute, and it's I guess I'm gonna blow the horn now. Yeah.
It was weird.
I actually loved that scene. That whole, I typically find slow-mo in stuff like this to be stupid and cheesy, but honestly, the whole montage of things, I got chills literally. I loved that, which we'll get more into later. We may get into some of it now if there's some of it that you didn't like, but yeah. So I didn't like that. The only thing I really didn't like with Matt was the lightsaber dagger. I actually quite liked most everything with Matt. What about you? You talked about a little bit of it already.
I thought maybe we were going to go off the deep end with Matt again. I thought he was going to grab the dagger. It was interesting. They were playing him like a druggie. Basically, and
you mean a couple episodes ago?
No.
Withdrawal from
with his drug kind of thing, and I thought that was really well done. And then he's like, "Nope, I'm gonna throw this on the ground, make a thing out of it, and then escape, and then kill everybody." And I thought it was too soon. I feel like we're back and forth. If we're gonna make Matt good, let's make Matt good, or if we're gonna let's have an arc. Either way, let's have him have a journey. And I feel like we've had real quick jumps instead of a nice arc.
I think that's fair. I'm just glad that it feels like we probably are where Matt needs to be at this point as far as his character. and we're basically back. We're back to where Matt needs to be. We're back to where Moray needs to be. We're sure as heck back where Lan needs to be.
I'm just afraid that next season we're going to do the jumps again. That's what I'm afraid of.
See,
Because it's like,
I don't.
We did it
think you can
in season 1.
Well, see, the problem. I don't think anything can be speculated on with Matt, because I think a huge chunk of what we did with Matt was because of what we had to do in season 1 with Matt.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's fair yet to.
We'll see next season.
We will.
You're right.
But I just don't know if that's really fair to judge Matt at this point.
I'm just saying he literally is like a good guy now, 100%. And I feel like we had a longer journey of deciding and figuring out who he was. And maybe they'll have some of that childishness kind of still being the rogue guy.
Well, and I mean,
throughout the seasons.
He probably will.
But it's like, I don't know. It's missing nuance for me at this point.
Right.
I feel like him as a character he's too shiny, too knight in shining armor at this point for me.
He had a revelation. He's a hero of the Horde, which is not book accurate, but I do think that can work. I think I see where they're going with that. I think they're going to build that in as a piece.
Special power.
Well, I think they're going to tie that in with some of the stuff from Roydion and all of those. You know, I think they're gonna play it to, instead of him getting dumped. I think that's evidence. Which this is almost a foregone conclusion. I think that they're gonna dump the Eelfin and the Aelfin. I think they're gonna keep the Arches. I hope. I think. Well, actually, I don't even know if they're going to keep that. Honestly, they may keep. Which honestly, I mean, it's kind of, that to me in a way is kind of like chunking. I mean, other than Moraine and Lanfear diving in, you know, other than that piece of it, it's kind of like them cutting Tom Bombadil in the movies. It's like, I would like to have it. It's super cool. It's super interesting. But if you're going to cut something, I mean, that makes sense, you know, and whatever. And so I think instead of them dumping memories from that, I think they're going to play that as he was a hero of the Horde. And that makes sense as a show. I think that's going to be fine. But
it's interesting that the way they played it, he got them all at once.
Well, maybe. Well, yeah. Well,
because he's like, I remember. And he
remembers he's a hero of the Horde, and he was able to speak the Old Tongue. You know, and I was actually surprised that happened in that moment.
Yeah.
I'm not quite back there in my reread. Does he say anything in the Old Tongue in that scene? I don't remember that happening. I'm almost there, almost done with that. I took a brief hiatus to read the Sunlit Man. Great book. Check it out.
Yeah.
I was surprised that they had him do that there, but I think again that ties in. Yeah, and you're not wrong that it's all quick, and that makes it even. You know, my issues with him going so dark in this season, the fact that they went so dark and now have like spun around and he's good again, you know, whatever else. It's like, so yeah, no, it's not particularly earned. I mean, I think you're right. It didn't bother me because I was enjoying the scene. Yeah, and there's some stuff in that whole slow-mo stuff. There's some stuff that after watching some non-book readers stuff and whatever, there's some stuff that I think I was enjoying that didn't really actually work in the show and didn't really.
People were just like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah. And so I think
can totally see that.
Well, and it's not even just what the heck is going on, but just not missing what's going on.
Missing
and,
key.
And
key
Nynaeve
points.
Specifically being one of those is like, and that's something that I didn't realize until after watching some non-book readers that I didn't even think about it. Because as a book reader, I'm like, oh, I get this. This is great. I love it. I'm seeing Nynaeve's block, and we've talked several times about Nynaeve's growth and her struggling with the block, and I've loved that pair. But they've done a piss poor job of explaining that to audiences, because it's very clear to me that non-book readers have no flipping clue why she can't and why she wasn't fixing Elaine. Get your rear in gear and do something. They don't understand. I mean, I loved it. I thought that scene was awesome.
No, I looked at it from, because that's exactly how I felt. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool, knowing what's going on behind the scenes. But then I started thinking about, okay, if I'm like the second time through, I started looking at it from a, like, I'm just going to look at this without knowing anything as far as book reader looking at it. Yeah. And I felt that way big time. It was like, okay, this is a really stupid scene because it looks like she just froze and Elaine just froze and they're just sitting out in the middle of this big battlefield and nobody's killing them. And it's like, what the crap? What was the point? So like, just so we can hold them there, like, why didn't they start that scene later so it didn't look like it took so long and then they went up? You know, I don't know. There was just there was a lot of weirdness about that scene. As far as from a non-book, but yes, I agree with you. I think it was good. I guess we've kind of jumped all over the place. The next thing that was big in my mind is that last battle scene. Is there something else we want to talk about before?
Is there, did you like or not like, Egwene, getting free from did you like the way they played that, or did you not like the way they played that? Or did you?
Didn't. I was like sitting there thinking, okay, somebody's going to come up and they're going to kill this girl and then she's going to be free and it's going to be awesome. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's Rand walking up and like slicing her in half, which she's not even paying attention, or something like, let's get some sword fight. Oh no, we're not going to do that. Just have a stab. I thought it was okay. I saw it coming from a mile away. As soon as I saw the ring on the ground, I was like, oh, she's going to pick that up and shove it in her throat and whatever. But then I was like, okay, how should she be able to do that? There was a lot of like, okay, if this is going by the book and we're going by the rule, not even going by the book, by the rules that you've established in the show, which are can't pick something up and use it against you if you feel in your mind that it's a weapon, she shouldn't have been able to do that.
Well, so I thought about that, and I can't remember exactly because she does collar Rena in the books, and she beats the crap out of her, and Nynaeve has to pull her off and be like, no, don't do that. But I don't remember the order, like. I don't remember the order of that and whether she's free first or whatever else. But
y'all let us know because we may be totally wrong. But the way I'm remembering it is Nynaeve, Elaine and Nynaeve free her, and then as soon as they do, and maybe they collar her and hand the collar to. I don't remember. I don't remember exactly how it happened, but it happened in such a way that they did that action. Or she did that action after being removed from that. Either way, even if it happened the same exact way, it probably worked with whatever rules were established by Robert Jordan. But if we go to the rules that were established by the show, it should not have happened. So
I had that thought initially too, actually. So, but I don't know that that's completely true. It's kind of like an Aes Sedai always tells the truth. But you know, is it the truth you think you're hearing? Whatever.
Right.
If she perceived that she was just, because collaring is not harming, and so if she could get her mind in the place where she's just putting this collar on her and not harming her, and then so the after now another YouTuber pointed out that how would that actually work if they were both collared, which. And whatever else, and their comment they brushed it off and kind of moved on and whatever else, and their was wouldn't it just be a fight at that point to who's, and so my thought is yes, from show it would be like if they were both had each other collared, it would be exactly like it was in the show, and it would be a battle of wills, and Egwene is way stronger than Rena ever thought about being. So I actually quite liked, I didn't think it like when Elaine gets shot and when Elaine gets shot and whatever, my first response was, oh my gosh, they're not going to, cause I thought they were going to go help her and, and whatever else. And they were going to go, and that was going to be a part of the thing. And so I was like, oh my gosh, that's not going to happen there. She's going to somehow get out of it herself. Yeah. And that was my first thought. But then when we got there, I thought, at them showing as much as they did and as well as they did in episode 6, I felt like that was on for most of it. That was a strong choice for her. If we're talking about like from an abuse and standpoint, her getting her power back, literally and figuratively, and whatever, her being able to get her agency back, and her actually doing that action. I actually like that. The one thing I didn't like, the one thing I don't love, I'm fine with it, but I don't like, again, kind of like, I don't like how dark they made Matt. I don't like the level of darkness that she was allowed. And I say, like I said, in the book, she basically is trying to do the same thing. She's trying to beat her to death and whatever else. And Nynaeve pulls her off. But I wish somebody would have stopped her from actually killing her. Now, from a non-book reader perspective, that might be anticlimactic for that. So I don't know, but
I thought the same thing. I thought I liked the perspective of probably because I'm a dark person. I don't know. I love
the comeuppance.
Yeah, I like so basically her going through all of that turned her into exactly what she didn't want to be.
Right.
Kind of idea.
We may see repercussions from that.
I feel
later.
I still feel like I'm glad you liked it, and I understand what you're saying. I just feel like it would have been so much better had she been. First of all, I feel like we missed out on a lot of intricacies of the weaving because we figuring out how to unlock the Sul'dam.
I think that's time more than anything. But
fine, but they spent a lot of time acting like they were going to figure that out. They could have just added
that's
2
true
minutes
too.
to figure
That's
it
true
out.
too.
And so we figured it out, and we go unlock her, and then she turns around and goes nuts on this girl. I think it would have been so much more powerful for her 2 friends to see her kill her or come close to kill her, whichever they decided to do. After that, than her just doing it. And the only person that really knew that it happened is Rand, kind of, but Rand just came up on the afterward, I don't know.
Right.
I think that it would have been a lot more impactful to have them there. I understand, and I think their whole thing, and I may be wrong, but I feel like their whole thing with her was to show, oh, she can do it, and it's woman power, blah 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 blah. I really feel like that was why they did it the way they did it.
I don't agree with that at all. I know that's the lens it's easy to view it through. I do,
that's all speculation. I mean, speculation from your part, speculation from my part.
I know.
I'm not saying that is what they did. I'm just saying it looks like that. And it may not have been, and great.
That would be true if episode 6 didn't exist to the extent it existed. And I think I think the her having to go through that. I mean, I think that's a reach. I think there are other stuff in this show that are definitely like, we did this because
the reason I say that is because then we've got her standing in front of
no, that one definitely is stupid.
That's why I'm saying what I'm saying is like you go. I didn't think that until I was just like, okay, well, they have her do it because it made sense, whatever. And for whatever reason, we're showing this other scene with the other 2, which I think they could have sped up and still had an impact because they obviously didn't hit what they were supposed to with Nynaeve and
I think that's more because of what they did earlier in the season. Yeah. They didn't set it up well previously.
That scene, then you get into the last battle when she does the shielding, I was like, oh, okay, so that's exactly why they did it. It's what it felt like. It felt very, very heavy this episode that the women are the powerful ones and the men, like, we're just going to shove in a box. And I don't really like. So if we're like, the thing is, you read the books and it's very much a half and half.
See, that's not true though. And I have video evidence saying that you didn't think so either, because as in the early books, it's very much.
I'm saying like when you get to the end and you go back and you look at the whole thing. And so maybe that's fair. Maybe that's fair that at this point it's supposed to be women heavy. I was very annoyed. I was very annoyed at that scene, and then I was like, and I was not annoyed at the time. I was just kind of like, okay, this is fine. It was not impactful to me, and I felt it would have been more impactful if somebody else had been there to view it and to try to stop her. I feel like that would have been even more like, like to show how much she went through in such a short time because Nynaeve has no idea. Elaine has no idea. they didn't get to, like in the books, see a lot of this go on. All they've done is they've had their friend get collared right in front of them. They're the Aes Sedai woman,
right,
the yellow, and then they put a collar on someone and got to kind of play around with it for a second, basically, make her scream. For a couple
was a lot darker
she
in that too. Nynaeve was acting like she kind of enjoyed it, whereas her in the book, she's like, "Oh my gosh, this is." She wouldn't even let Elaine have it, hold it, because she didn't want her to have to experience the ugliness of it and whatever else. But
I thought that was actually done pretty well.
Really,
that what you're saying right there, just that specific thing, with her not wanting to give it away.
See, I didn't think that played at all, but
I didn't know. I'm saying from a book reader standpoint, like I got it.
Oh, well, I would agree with you, except for her. I mean, the look on her face when she was torturing her didn't seem remorseful to me. It seemed like I'm angry and gonna kick your butt, and whatever else. But so we're dancing all around the elephant in the room. The worst decision, by a wide margin, and the where I could see somebody being like, okay, that's enough. This is really stupid. I'm done or whatever. I'm not there, and because I think that they can redeem Rand enough, or what they're doing with Rand. Rand shouldn't really, but we'll talk more about that. Actually, probably talk mostly about that on the live, honestly, because that's kind of more future and Rand as a whole and whatever else. But so the whole scene on the tower was atrocious. Was absolutely atrocious. And I mean, so the stuff around, so and I am saying that specifically and intentionally, that the stuff on the tower, because so I had this thought, in episode 8 finale, I talked a lot, actually at the time I talked with you had made Jonathan leave the room because he wasn't quite finished at the time, whatever else, because, in episode 8 of season 1, I thought it was honestly really cool, even though it was like less action packed, the stuff with Ishii and with Rand, because it directly mirrors the very end of the series. And I thought that was super cool. And this episode finale actually does the same thing, but different. It does the other bits. It does, all these people having to come together and play their parts and do their things, and the, Moraine and whatever. And so it did that, so that, like that concept. Okay. I like that.
I love Moraine's part.
I'm great with that.
Yep.
The thing that was stupid for a lot of reasons was Egwene's part in that. That was absolutely dumb. It was really, really, really. Now, Egwene is, by the end of the show, one of the most powerful female warrior channelers. So and you take into consideration what she does in the last battle.
Exactly. And then you think about it through that lens, and I like it.
Sure.
I like the nod to it.
Right.
However,
so the whole point of the ending is Rand deciding to be the Dragon Reborn. Because he has to, because he doesn't have any choice.
He doesn't want to be. He's the reluctant hero.
Yeah, exactly. And which is like the entire point of Rand's character. Mm-hmm. In the interview that they play at the end of every audiobook, that's exactly what Robert Jordan's talking about. That is that's the whole point of that character is somebody that's been walked up to and says, you are the hero. You are going to save the world. And then you get two interesting pieces in that. One is he's like, I don't want to be. I don't know if I can be. I don't want to be. And oh, by the way, I don't want to be. Mm-hmm. And that's lasts for a long time. And then the other piece of that is the rest of the world being like, do we want him to be? And is it a good thing? Is he going to destroy the world? Is he going to save the world? What's going to happen? And so those are the key pieces. And they could take up those pieces starting in season 3. They could, and they may. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I am not willing to speculate on that yet. I'm not. I am absolutely not willing to speculate on that because all that's going to do for me personally is get frustrated. It's going to get frustrated about something that is not guaranteed to happen. And so anyway, all that to be said, that's the whole idea. And so him fighting Ishii is a big deal. And that's a big deal, and I don't necessarily mind it being on the tower. I mean, because the projector screen in the clouds would have looked stupid on TV. I've always thought it's kind of stupid in the books myself. And
I had a thought of how they could have made it better.
Oh, really?
The
hindsight is 2020.
Well, maybe, but we have this whole thing where the White Cloaks are coming in and there's a fog. Do we use the fog ever again? No, we don't. I don't know why, because we could have made the whole town foggy at that end and had the tower.
Fog or was it dirt? I don't know.
Whatever.
There's a lot of weird fog.
But I'm just saying, like, they could have had that kind of blow in and blow over the tower to where it's like all you see is like,
oh yeah, so it's kind of clouds and whatever else. Sure.
Like it and.
Like, well, the atmosphere of the episode
that would have looked better in the daytime
that.
Because we didn't do the nighttime, or they could have just done it in the nighttime and it would have looked better in general. But anyway,
no, that's probably true.
Anyway, so go ahead with what you're saying.
And so Egwene, there's so many things wrong with it. So her being there, I'm fine with that. I'm actually fine with ultimately everybody ending up on the tower eventually. I don't know that I love them stepping up with him. I'm glad they at least had him step up and be the and get cheered first. Yeah. Whatever else. But I don't mind them being there. I think that kind of worked. Even the weird Perrin coming in with a shield blocking whatever, that was stupid in my opinion. But so I don't mind that. But so Ishii does this thing and he casually flings her and she's dead. And then he gets shield from a distance, whatever else. So he's out of commission. So now there's no sword fight, right? Oh, tear for the book fans and rage from the book cloaks, all varying emotions, and then she's down. And then we do the part with Matt, and I think that played. I think that was great. I think that was a good substitute. That was probably
the one part that I was like, oh, okay. And go ahead.
Well, I like that what they did with Men's visions is they always come true, but it was a twist. I liked that. I liked that. I agree. That was solid. Now, the one bad thing about that was we had seen, now it was very quick, and we only kind of saw the top chunk of him, so maybe we didn't see it clear enough to see that this is really what happened, but I'm pretty sure we saw a guy disintegrate basically with the knife, and then Rand gets stabbed, and he's fine. I mean, he's not going to be fine. That wound's never going to heal, and whatever else. Of course, we're using that as a stand-in for the other, which I don't know how we do that. I don't know if we're going to do the double wound thing because now we've got the wounds in the reverse. Or I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with that, but I thought that played. Yeah. But then, so that was that, and then Ishii's going to kill him. Right, it's like I'm done with you.
He's got a monologue first.
He's got a monologue first. That was honestly, that's fine. Yeah. I mean, the Forsaken have been over the top, and they've been cheesy and whatever else. So that's fine too. But then Egwene gets up, and she faces down a Forsaken, who have we shown in the show to be absolutely formidable. She somehow is able to do this huge shield by herself, which. She's powerful,
not only for a second, but for minutes.
Well, and that so she's up there being able to hold this giant shield against a Forsaken, and he's over there just like, showing these little, throwing these little ball, whatever else, and and she's able to fend him off. And so it's like, okay, I could have again been okay. She does that brief moment of Rand's, and then Moraine unshields him. That happens sooner than it did in the thing. Now Rand's up, and maybe she gets weakened down to the point where she can't be there anymore. And then Rand and he actually have a sword fight. Something happens. I mean, heck, no. I mean, they do the thing, but then all you get is after they spent the time adding in these lines and these moments about his, I thought it was weakly done, but we added in moments of, sword skills. He's learned some, so it was weak and like there was that was barely there, but they spent. I mean, so if that feels like a hollow book reader nod.
Yeah. Oh, it's very hollow.
Like
we didn't even show it. Like we could have shown him running through town killing Shawn as he was making his way to what's his face. Like there was a bunch of stuff you could have like. Let's show some sword fighting. If we're gonna take it out, I don't know. Yes.
So
I was extremely disappointed with the end. Her being able to, I was just like, at first she pops over there and like, shields. And I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting because Ishi's just going to, I don't know what he's going to do with her at this point. Cause
so
he's already
surprise
knocked her.
attack, fine.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah.
But I'm like, at this point, what is he going to do? Is he going to cut her off from the source? Is he going to, I'm thinking in my head, like all these different things that could
We've shown that a Forsaken can do this and squash a guy's head with like a grape.
Yes. Yes. And then it's like, she keeps holding it and she keeps holding it. And I'm like, okay, why is he not doing something different? Why does he not walk up to why does he not blow the shield out of the water? Why does he not attack from the behind where she can't shield? I don't know. There's a million different things. Like what is going on? And then Perrin comes in and blocks one little ball.
He does his Captain America.
Yes, Captain America. It's just
that one. I don't know that I laughed out loud, but I definitely chuckled on the inside because that was just cheesy. It's what was that?
And then he goes and stands back with Rand, and it's like, what are we doing? Like, and she's still there.
Well, they're trying. Rand's down, and so they're trying to heal and whatever else. And
it takes 5 of them to do that. Like, you've got I don't know. It just showed like. We made these we built up Lanfear so far this season and made her look so scary.
She was still awesome in this episode, by the way. The little bits of her we got.
She was. And then by proxy you built up Ishamael because we don't see a ton of his, but we built him up quite a bit. And then we built up Egwene. I agree. I'm not saying that was out of nowhere.
Right.
But I felt like we just diminished there's levels to these powers. I mean, and if you're a non-book reader but
skill
you don't care
and training needed,
but you don't care about spoilers, you should totally go look. There's a very good article, and maybe we can link it or something. Somebody can link it in the description. It's a very good article that shows everybody's power levels throughout the whole thing, and I can tell you right now, Egwene's nowhere near a Ishamael. Nowhere near. Nynaeve, on the other hand, I don't remember, but she's very high up there. Anyway, I was just like,
her skill level,
yes,
I mean, that's even more.
Because Rand
was same as she was Rand,
same as Rand. Like Rand Rand is very powerful. We know that, but he hasn't been able to do anything because he doesn't. But then all of a sudden, he's able to kill a bunch of people like that without even thinking about it. He just kind of channels, and so same problem I had with this. It was like, okay, she's mildly trained. Yes, I agree, but she should not be able to hold her own against. Maybe if she had been in the tower for a really long time and had lots of training, maybe I could see that happening and somebody else coming and standing with her and helping her channel, Elaine or something coming up, or even Moraine or something. I don't know. Later in the books, I could see this. Right now, it made no sense. And it felt cheesy and chaunchy, and it felt, like I said, again, very feminine, wanting the woman to do the thing.
Well, even if it's not, even if you don't take it that far, it is absolutely a great example of one of the worst unwritten rules and one of the most harmful to women unwritten rules in Hollywood is that a woman may not lose to a man in a movie. And here's why and I'm going to say enough words so that I don't get stoned.
Well, but before you do, if this is your first time, don't hear what we're not saying and feel like we are like anti-woman for some reason. And if you haven't watched other videos, we both love female characters who are strong. Mm-hmm. Vin,
strong in all kinds of different ways.
In all kinds of ways. Strong in strength, strong in power, strong in whatever.
Yeah.
Vin is an amazing female strong character. Moraine, Egwene, Elaine in the books, all of them. Elaine,
Egwene is my favorite character in this book series.
They're great. It's just when we do the Hollywood thing that I'm having a problem with, and that's why I just don't want y'all to feel like I'm just like
So
I want all the men to be doing all the
Right.
cool things, not the women. No,
Right.
That's not
No,
my
no, no.
point.
Yeah.
It just feels very shoved in, and it's probably because of everything that's gone on.
Well, this is
social wise that's been pushed in recent years politically, that my
why your
glasses,
knee jerk is so
why my knee jerk is so hard, why my silver rose colored glasses are so tinted in this way.
Some colored glasses.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, just wanted to say that before you went into what you were going to say. Go ahead.
Yeah. So he's not awful either. So now let me prove that I'm also not awful. Yeah. So people that look at cinema and look at things, it's kind of an unwritten rule in Hollywood. You see this in movies and TV all the time, that a woman cannot be shown to defeat a man in a fight. That just doesn't happen in Hollywood ever, and for varying reasons and whatever. And so here's the thing that hurts that. It hurts it here too, is because if Egwene can't, it's like, let me use an example. In Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, Peter Parker gets absolutely wrecked by the Green Goblin. Absolutely wrecked by the Green Goblin, and he is absolutely brought completely low, and he cannot. But then he's able to build back up and gain strength from it and learn from that and do those things, and he's able to come back and he's able to win in the end. So in this, if Egwene is never, or whoever, whatever the heck female character is in this thing, if they are never able to be defeated, then there's no
growth.
Triumph, there's no growth, there's no real success when they do overcome and they do learn how to do that. And so basically that only barely applies to this, but what my point is even if it isn't just this evil liberal agenda, whatever, even if it isn't that, it's still,
it's hurting.
It's
hurting
not,
this character.
Yeah,
and to that point, even more so is where we're going with her, and hopefully where we end up with her at the end, and
she's gonna.
This is end book spoilers, so if you don't want to hear this, fast forward a minute and I'll be done. But self-sacrifice for everyone, and the beauty of that scene, probably one of the best scenes, one of my favorite scenes, like one of maybe 10 scenes in all of the books. That scene of her self-sacrifice and saving people and all the things that she does, it takes away from that with her. If we're never going to have her lose, we're never going to have her grow, we're never going to have her move past this. I don't know. It
To be fair, she has definitely been brought low this season.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, so we'll see whether, it's kind of like what you're saying with Matt a little bit, is if all of a sudden Matt's now good and we're never to speak of this again, whatever else, then that cheapens all of the things. Yeah. And so it's the same idea in a way here. If we don't see some of the struggle that she's still going to have to go through, and we still may, whatever else, but to needlessly put this thing that totally steals from Rand, it's very important, and actually something somebody might come and say, I'm saying they need to get their rearing gear with Rand. Somebody might come and say, well, he's pretty much absent from the third book. And that's true. And they could play it like that if they had done seasons 1 and 2 differently. And they're going to have to develop Rand as a character that is not just led around the nose by Selene, that is not just shielded and on his knees the whole time. They're going to have to develop Rand as a character who is struggling with who he is, and struggling with the hero, and struggling with these things, and he's having a tendency to go mad. Maybe, I don't. There's a lot of different. They can do good by Rand. Yeah. Still, I think we're, and also another point with Rand is Rand was one of my least favorite characters early in the books. I mean, he's boring. He has very little character growth. He doesn't do a whole lot. In the first 2 books, he's really boring. He doesn't hardly do much. He's much less interesting than either Perrin or even Matt to a degree, and for sure less than Moiraine and Egwene and Nynaeve. He's one of the most boring characters early in the series. He doesn't do a lot, and so and that's true. And so, which is another reason why I'm holding out that they can still do right. They can still, and which is why I'm hesitating to use the word fix Rand. Like, it's not necessarily that they need to fix him. They just need to get their rear in gear in developing him. Yeah. Because they've done no developing. And, by this point, at the end of Great Hunt and whatever else, we've got enough interesting things. I just reread recently his scene in Camelin when he's like, I don't want to play the game of houses. This is stupid. And he accidentally plays it brilliantly. And I'd forgotten how hilarious it is. But that, and I don't need it to be hilarious, but we need Rand. We need some development in Rand. That's the character right now that's got to be developed. And, we needed Matt to be Matt. And I think, I think your point is really, I hadn't even really thought about it. Your point is solid that it was too quick and whiplash and not earned, but especially with what they did with him. But I'm glad that Matt is where Matt is Matt and has the potential to stay Matt. And I would like that. I don't mind him flirting with the dark and and struggle, that being a constant, like, I don't mind that being a struggle longer, but and Moiraine is where Moiraine needs to be now. Egwene is where, like, all the characters essentially are kind of where they need to be now, but Rand isn't. Well, Min isn't either, actually, for that matter, but that's a different thing. Yeah. They forgot, they did a Robert Jordan and forgot Min never existed for the last half of this season. Half a season. But what did we like? We promised things that we like, and there's a couple of things that I really liked a lot, actually. So what did you like in this episode, if anything?
I feel like I liked a lot more things before I came in here and started talking about it. No, I mean, I think we talked about most of the things I liked. The Matt scene of him stabbing Rand was great. I enjoyed him blowing the horn. I felt like we didn't get enough build up to that, like, talking about him blowing the horn, like the whole.
Well, not talking about, but getting him into a desperate place of doing that,
or prophesying. Like, didn't we knew that Matt was going to blow the horn before he did? Didn't
No.
Oh, okay,
we didn't know that in the show or the books.
I thought we did.
Rand was always the one. I mean, that was all.
That's
the
right.
thing. Rand
They're
was
all
supposed
trying
to
to
do
get
it.
to Rand. Anyway, yeah. I thought that scene was fine. I did not feel it was as impactful as it could have been. And I think it was because of desperation, or their lack of desperation. I liked the scene, despite what I said. I liked the scene of Egwene and what it was her
Rhaena.
Rhaena. I liked a lot of the scenes leading up to that, especially like her turning around saying she wasn't going to do it, and all
spitting the pacifier out.
Spitting the pacifier out, and Ren almost cutting her tongue out, and her bowing up to her, and all the things. Like, I liked a lot of that because it led to exactly what happened. I still feel it would have been better to do the end of it a little bit different way, but I liked a lot of her stuff. I liked. I loved Moiraine and Lan's stuff. Like, pretty much everything that they were involved in was awesome. I loved them getting thrown through.
Other than the weird missing archer.
Yes. Other than the weird missing archer that we discussed earlier. But I loved them getting thrown through the Gway Gate and them being like, where the heck are we? And just starting to walk, and then that giving them time to figure out this thing that's been, and that was a longer, something we've been waiting for all season. Mm-hmm. And so that was one, but I still stand by. We need more of that stuff. But anyway, so I loved their sequences together. I don't know if she was I didn't understand that.
Yeah, she was bonding him again.
She was rebonding him.
Yeah,
she had released her bond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because I didn't think that was possible because she was shielded. You see what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
There's some weird.
Don't know what, when,
whatever.
why, how, anything else.
But the rebond was cool. And the
they're gonna kiss scene.
yeah, they almost there was just some cool like her using. I loved that she was like he said, I get why you said you were better, or whatever. And he said I finally came to terms with that. And then her using the classic Aes Sedai thing of, well, you didn't understand my words because I was actually saying that you're my better. You've always been my better.
I was, other people called that. We had at least one or two commenters that called that was what she's doing. I didn't believe you. I apologize. I did not think that's what they were doing at all. I loved it, though.
Those scenes made me feel better about the rest. You know how I said that there was just something weird about her and off about her, and I know we went through the fact that she was shielded / whatever. And we talked about that. And anyway, I don't need to get off in the weeds too much because this is more the whole season talk rather than this episode. But I felt like those sequences made me feel better about her character in this season. The Shawn Chan stuff was reasonably cool. Them getting on the boat and stuff I thought was a little chinchy, like getting out on the boat so we can shield him from a distance, and I don't know, and
it was a little weird.
It was a little weird, but there was still some cool stuff. There was a lot of cool fighting things. The White Cloaks.
What did you think about Moraine making them go boom?
I loved that. Like, and there was a little bit of the cheesy, like, oh no, look, the missile is coming. Oh, missile's coming. Oh no, look, the missile's coming, like back and forth, because they were like seeing it for a really long time, and I was just like, why are we like it?
Hey, that kind of stuff bothers him a lot.
I'm sorry. It's like
it probably bothers some of y'all. It doesn't bother me much, but I'm sure it bothers some of y'all too.
let the viewer just anyway devise their own what's going on instead of anyway. What was I gonna say? Oh, White Cloaks. White Cloaks was great. Everything about them except for the weird scene with Hopper where it just didn't quite go off for me. The Valda running off. Like, I get, and I had forgotten actually that he was deathly afraid of them. So that kind of helps it a little bit, but it still just seemed like he was dead. So why didn't he turn his frustration back on Perrin and allow Perrin to do something cool?
Like Pitch Meeting always said, so the movie can happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. I just felt, and then, I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I really, really loved.
What about the epilogue? Or you have something else?
The epilogue as in the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually about to go there because I was going to say I loved watching her face. It's a little delayed. I pick up on all that stuff just way too easily, and it bugs me because she like walks in the room and all happy and kind of looks over there and then like, oh no, the seals have been broken. I'm like, it took me like that to realize that was, and you saw it, the dirt. I loved they had the dirt in his hands earlier in the episode, when he like kind of washed his hand. Or
I didn't even think about that.
I loved that. Yeah, I was like, oh, he broke the seals. Like, knew that was happening.
First time you watched it, really?
I caught it. Yeah, I was like, they made a big point to have her talk to the captain, to say, hey, I'm bringing those seals to you or whatever. And then very quickly after that, he's, getting these dirt off.
At all.
And he said something like, I was taking care of something else. And I was like, I know exactly what you were doing.
Yeah, that's cool.
So whenever she walked in there, I thought it was funny, but I love that scene. Like her, like, oh crap. And then that whole sequence was just like, it almost went too far because again, we have we got these power levels. And Mogedion, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Mogedion's as powerful as Lantern.
No, she's not.
But
that's for sure not.
Catching her off balance and all the things, but I don't know that the people watching who haven't read the books will know that will know and understand. So it almost came off as too much. But anyway, I loved her sequence and just the spidery things she kind of did. It was awesome. That was actually probably, out of the whole thing, I was kind of like really disappointed by the end because of all the stuff we talked about. But when that came on, I was like, oh, it's like redemption for just a little bit. Like maybe I can keep watching this just because of that. I hope we I hope we do really well with the bad guys. That's going on to what we need to talk about in the live. But anyway, yeah. What about you? Positives.
So pretty much all the same things with the Moraine and Lan. That was such an awesome scene. I'm sure there's some people out there that didn't like it for whatever reason, and that's fine. You do you, boo. But I loved it. I thought it was great. Now, you could, if you have been frustrated in this season, the weakest plot line in this season by a gigantic, if you want to talk about where we've wasted time, is stuff with Lan in the season. As far as now, I don't know if that would give, like, taking time out of there would have been able to give it to the last episodes. I don't know that it would have worked that way exactly, but as far as like a bunch of stupid time, that's some stupid time in this. So you could make the case it's too little too late. I loved it. I thought it was really great. Like, I loved it. Because of the stuff those scenes, I think I could have been, and those scenes, I liked them so much. And some of these other scenes that, even though the stuff with Egwene in particular was just really bad, I think the scales are balanced for me. This is not the best episode probably of the season, I don't think. But so the other stuff that I liked, I loved the White Cloaks in this episode. I've really actually we'll talk more about this in the live, but I've liked the White Cloaks this season a lot. I love the extra dimension we're getting to them, and I loved that. I love that we got the scene. I like the way we did the scene where, I didn't like Hopper dying, tears. Book readers know he's not really dead. He's only mostly dead, but
Oh, you mean Perrin killing?
Yeah, Perrin killing Bornhold and Dane.
Did you notice what Bornhold was carrying when he was killed?
Yeah, an axe. Yeah.
I wish he would have. Anyway.
Well, he picks up an axe. You're talking about the same axe,
but I wish he would have picked that one up.
That one up,
awesome. It was huge.
It was a cool looking axe. Yeah, no, and him killing him with an axe was great, and Dane, all of that whole stuff, and and then everything. Yeah, basically that is everything that happens in the slow mo chunk. I loved. I got chills. I enjoyed it. I think and I've heard other people pointing some of this out that were book readers, and then watching the non-book readers, I think objectively there was some stuff that they should have set up better earlier in the season that would have made it pay off. But I really loved Nynaeve struggling to channel with Elaine there. I enjoyed that so much. I thought that was so awesome. I wish they would have been more, there's some places, and we've talked about this before. There's some stuff, that they try really hard in this show to show, not tell, which is, I know that's good storytelling practice, right? And I agree with that. I think that they would benefit from a little bit of exposition.
Yeah.
Like a little bit more exposition. And I know, and generally we do want to show instead of tell, but it would help if we got some more exposition, and that scene would have landed. But I still loved it. I loved it. I loved, I was like I said earlier, my initial was like, this is dumb. She was going to go and she's going to help Egwene. Now she's not anymore. But as that scene played out, and they played out her struggling, and then using her wisdom training to still be able to suffer, do the thing that needed to be done. I loved that. And I loved Matt's scene. I loved it. I wish, honestly, I didn't even think, I was talking about that. That wasn't even my original thought. That was from somebody else, another reviewer, that it wasn't as desperate as it was in the books. It would have been better if it would have been more desperate. I still loved it. I loved the scene with the horn. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I think him being a hero of Thorn, I think that totally lands, and I think they can play in that playground all day, and that can work. I thought it was funny that Uno was a hero of the horn, but I also loved it, and I loved the way they played it. I liked that a lot. I thought that was a lot of fun. I actually really like, and this is, so. And I said this before, and I say in our likes, I like these two episode 8s mirroring the end of the series together. If you take both of them together, it's almost a perfect mirror for the end of the series, and I think that's cool. I think that's interesting. I think that's potentially fun. And then obviously we've already said everything about the ending with Moghedien was. I thought her characterization is not quite the way I envision her, either her look or the way she's acted, written. It wasn't really what I envisioned, but it's pretty dang perfect. And it actually, Grindal is going to be an awful person. That's going to be. I can just imagine that's more like for talking about in the live, but. I love the spider web. I mean, because that's perfect. I think she's described that way in the books a little bit, but and she whether she's described that way or not, she definitely acts that way. Yep. So I love that imagery, and and we both have pointed out the whole power levels. She doesn't really. I mean, she catches Lanfear off guard, kind of. So that probably wouldn't have gone down quite that way if in book version of them, but I like it in the show. I actually like the change, even if they do just basically make her more powerful. I like that actually right now. I think that works because it sets up a very interesting power dynamic and this interesting cliffhanger bit for season 2 and whatever, season 3 and. Because they've gone hard into building up Lanfear. I mean, she's the star of season 2 in a lot of ways. And she was seen to be so powerful, and the fact that she is quaking in her boots that this is happening, that makes all of the non-book readers and whatever else be like, "Oh crap, what is?" She got overpowered by
scary. One of them, and there's how many of them that are loose now?
And who are they, and what's going on, and all the things. So, there'll be more to talk about when we talk about the whole season in the live. But I love those kind of 3-ish things I loved in this episode to varying degrees, and I liked them a lot, and I think those worked. I don't think that this episode, I've heard some people say that this episode was just as bad as season 1. I don't agree with that. I do think that not Elaine. That's another thing that would take half a second, so I may as well throw it out there. What did you think about the Elaine Halo scene?
I was like, oh, come on, really? Like,
now is not the time.
No, like you're making this terrible scene on top of the roof even worse because you made this like cheese ball. Like, oh, who are you? Like, good. I just was annoyed.
In fairness, the line itself was fine. Like him saying, "Who are you?" was fine, but the way it was shot,
but it was like, yes, cheese ball to the extreme in the middle of like this super intense.
And as far as the non-book readers are concerned, Egwene and Rand are still in love and getting married and everything else, and now he's cheating on her all of a sudden. While Egwene is
trying to save his life.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah. All of that to say, it was far from a perfect episode in so many ways.
We need to do a ranking. Maybe in the live we can do that, or or a later thing, because it'd be interesting. I kind of want to go back and watch them all again. But what did y'all think? Yeah, what did y'all think about this episode? Was it as terrible? Like, good Lord, I feel like we've spent an hour and a half on terribleness and about 10 minutes on good. But to be honest, I feel like I was, it was more like maybe this is a 5 out of 10 for me at this point. Or 4 out of 10, something like that. It's definitely more negative than positive, but I do want to continue to see. I keep giving them the benefit of the doubt, and they are not completely losing me. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
They're going to have to do good with Rand season 3. That's for me personally.
I agree. I think season 3 is going to be make or break for a lot of things. And if they do as terrible as they did in this last episode with everything, I think I'm going to be done. But I obviously can't, have no idea. So we'll see when we get there. But how was it for you?
On Friday.
Yeah. See you guys on Friday, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Mm-hmm. You guys have a awesome week. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.